ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरु श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपदान् सहगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नम ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। So welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam thematic series 3, which is the 6 answers to the sages of Naimisharanya. We have been discussing the 6 answers, and if you remember up till now, Sut Goswami has answered in 1 to 6 to 1 to 22 questions 1 and 2. What is the highest benefit for humanity is to practice parodharma, and what is the essence of all scriptures by which the Atma can be satisfied? Ato vo kaivaya nityam bhaktim paramaya muda kurvantim aikutim bhaktim kurvat atma prasadanim. Sorry, I forgot the verse. Kurvat atma prasadanim, by which the soul can be fully satisfied. That is by bhakti. So that is how Sut Goswami has answered questions 1 and 2. And another subtopic, which is not part of the question, is that bhakti has to be performed exclusively to only Vishnu Tattva or Bhagwan. So that also he establishes, and that is the essence, and that is the conclusion of the Vedas, that is the goal of the Vedas, everything. And then he goes on to answer in verses 30 to 33 how the Lord expands into the Purush avatars. And that, in one sense, is the answer to question 3. Sorry, question 4. It is the answer to question 4. So in the last class, we saw just the principle of how the Lord expands into Purusha avatars and creates this universe. So the creation principle is been discussed in principle, you can say, in verses 30 to 33. 3. So we have finished discussing verses 30, 31, 32, and 33, where Mahavishnu creates this universe in the form of the causality principle of cause and effect, and he enters into this universe. And as Kshirodakshay Vishnu, he allows the jivas who have possessed material body, mind, and senses to enjoy the sense objects. So the jiva allows, the Lord allows that. So all these three Paramatma features have been discussed. So in one sense, the Purusha avatars have been discussed. So now we'll go to the last verse of this section, which answers question 3. The Lord creates the Purusha avatars for creation pastime and takes the role of incarnations and performs pastimes. And why does he do that? To reclaim those who are in the mode of pure goodness. So this is the question, why does the Lord incarnate in this material world? And especially Krishna, why did he incarnate? That was the question asked by the sages of Naimisharanya in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.12. So let us recite 1-34. Bhavatesha satvena lokanvai lokabhavana leelavatarananurato devatiryannaradeshu. The Lord, the creator of the universe, Lokabhavana. The Lord is the creator of the universe. He creates the universe, absorbing himself in the form of various Leela avatars. Leela avatar Anurato. Anurato means he is absorbed in that avatar. When the Lord takes the avatar of Vara, he acts as though he's a Vara. He's a boar and he starts smelling and sniffing. So he's absorbed in it as Devatas, animals, and humans. Devatiryan Naradishu. So the Lord incarnates in the planet of the demigods, in the planet of the human beings, in the planet of where the animal species are. Why? Protects Bhavyate, the world's Lokanvai, through his role as controller of Satuguna. Esha Satvena. Commentary by Prabhupada. Very interesting commentary. There are innumerable material universes, and in each and every universe, there are innumerable planets inhabited by different grades of living entities in the different modes of nature. So, Devatiryan Naradeshu, Prabhupada is commenting on that. The Lord Vishnu incarnates himself in each and every one of them, in each and every type of living society. So in the society of aquatics, he incarnates as Matsya. In the society of birds, he also incarnates in the bird species. So the Lord has 84 varieties of incarnations, you can say. There is the Matsya, there is the Kurma, there is the Vara. There are so many species, and in each and every type of living society, he incarnates. He manifests his transcendental pastimes among them just to create the desire to go back to Godhead. So in the fish incarnation, when he incarnates, the other fishes, when say they see the beauty of the Matsya, they're attracted. And that's how they evolve and develop a desire to, go back to the spiritual world. The Lord does not change his original transcendental position, but he appears to be differently manifested according to the particular time, circumstances, and society. So just because he incarnates in the fish incarnation, it doesn't mean that he's a fish. He is transcendentally situated, but he acts according to the particular time and circumstances. Prabhupada gives the example. Sometimes he incarnates himself or empowers a suitable living being to act for him, but in either case, the purpose is the same, to go back to Godhead. The Lord wants the suffering living being to go back to Godhead. The happiness which the living beings are hankering for is not to be found within any corner of the innumerable universes and material planets. So this is a statement which should be marked. We are all, the soul is hankering for happiness And in search of this happiness, he's been uh, uh, moving in different species of life, searching for that happiness. Brahmande Brahmite, kono bhagyavan jeev, Guru Krishna prasade paye, bhakti lata bij. So the soul is hankering for happiness and is wandering in one universe in different species, right from the upper planetary systems to the lower planetary systems. He is wandering from one universe to another universe, searching for that happiness. And only when he comes in touch with a pure devotee, then the seed of Bhakti Lata is sown in the heart, by which cultivating he can attain that pure spiritual happiness which he is hankering for. The eternal happiness which the living entity wants is obtainable in the kingdom of God, but the forgetful living beings under the influence of the material modes have no information of the kingdom of God. The Lord therefore comes to propagate the message of the kingdom of God, either personally as an incarnation or through his bona fide representative as the good Son of God. So we don't know where that happiness there, but the soul is seeking that. The soul has three anti-material desires. What does anti-material desire mean? Spiritual desire. That it seeks to be eternal. The body is not eternal. It seeks pure knowledge. But the material world is filled with matter, it is ignorance. And it seeks pleasure, ananda, sat chit ananda. And because it has these desires, it is trying to seek them in this world. But the world itself is temporary. The world is full of ignorance. And the world is not a source of happiness, but misery. That means it belongs to another world. So because we don't have that information, the Lord himself comes to propagate that information through himself or through his bona fide representative. Such incarnations of sons of God are not making propaganda for going back to Godhead only within human society. That means in all species they are making this propaganda. Their work is also going on in all types of societies amongst demigods and other than human beings. Devatiryan Naradishu. So thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purports for the first canto, second chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled Divinity and Divine Service. Let's go to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's commentary. It has been described that the Lord appears in as many forms when he enters all the living beings. However, the Lord is without limitation or material contamination in all his forms. So all these forms he enters, they are without limitation and they are without any material contamination. He appears in many forms with his Swarupa in his eternal pastimes. Bhavati means he protects, or it means he bestows them with prema. Bhavati means he bestows them prema. This verse describes the normal goal of all avatars. So what is the normal goal of all avatars? Is to give them prema. Note, Sridhar Swami says this verse answers the question about the purpose of the avatars. So Sridhar Swami in his commentary mentions what is the purpose of all avatars? The purpose is to uh, reclaim or the souls and give them prema. Loka Bhavana here means the creator of the universe instead of protector of the worlds, to avoid redundant meaning. So Bhavyati Lokena Lokan Loka Bhavana it is. Since Bhavyati Lokan already means to protect the worlds. So Bhavyati Lokan means to protect the worlds. So Loka Bhavana again cannot mean to protect the world. It means creator of the universe. So that's how Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur commentary is brief and he ends this commentary. So this is where we end our discussion on the second chapter, which has answered 1, 2, 3 in the last verse. Fourth, again, it is answered from verses 30 to 33. But again, it is expanded in verses 1 to 5. of chapter 3. So let us go to chapter 3 now and further discuss it. But anyone has any questions up till now, we can take up before we proceed to chapter 3. We will require maybe another 2-3 weeks to finish chapter 3, and that will end the thematic series 3, and we'll begin the thematic series 4, which is a very, very important series, the Narada Vyas Samvad. Yes, Sunita Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Prabhuji.
One second,
Prabhuji,
I have
last
to change my settings here. Yes.
Prabhuji, can you give the recap of
You have to
the
speak a little
discussion?
loudly, please. One
Hare
second.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, better.
Hari Bol. Prabhuji, can you give the recap of the shloka which we discussed just now? Because I want a little elaboration on that.
The last verse is speaking, Sut Goswami is saying that the Lord, who is the creator of the universe, he incarnates after creating the Purusha avatars, he incarnates Anurato and is absorbed in the pastimes uh, in different species, Deva Tiryan Naradeshu. Why? To reclaim those who are in goodness. Here, goodness means pure goodness. Those who are attained bhava. So, or prema. That's what bhavati means. So, this is the purpose why the Lord incarnates. The Lord incarnates to reclaim those who are in pure goodness. And that is the purpose of the incarnation. And that answers the sage's question, Suta Jana se Badram ve Bhagavan Sattvatam Patim. Why did he appear? Devakya Jata Yavam. Why did he appear in the womb of Devaki and Vasudev? So the Lord appeared so that he can reclaim those who are in pure goodness. So that is the point. Okay, so let's go now to chapter 3, which is a further continuation of answer to question 4. Describe the Purusha avatar. So the role of Purusha avatars is mentioned, and the Leela avatar are discussed in the 22 incarnations, which is again answering question 5. Question 4 and question 3 is the purpose of the avatars, and all the Leela avatars are described in in chapter 3, the 22 incarnations. Okay, yes, Sunita Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Reclamation of the
No, 1 minute, you will have to be a little louder, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Reclamation of the species, you said, I think.
No, not reclamation of the species. It is the Lord incarnates in all the species just to develop a desire to go back to Godhead. But those who are in pure goodness, he takes them back to Godhead. You have to attain pure love for the Lord. That is prema. And then the Lord
So
takes us back.
is the meaning that in the species also they can be liberated?
No. Usually, there is a gradual evolution, and the Matsya incarnation, the all other fishes who see the pastime of the Matsya incarnation, they are attracted and they uh, evolve to a higher human species by which they can practice bhakti and attain perfection. So usually uh, in the lower forms, uh, they're very degraded. So the Lord, by evolving in these forms also, he elevates them quickly so that they can, that desire, of that one desire in that fish incarnation they have developed. Who is this beautiful? I desire his association. So that desire itself is the seed. And with that seed sown, they will, with the practice of sadhana, attain sadhya. Is it clear,
Hare Krishna.
Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yes.
So is there a desire in the species also to go back to Godhead?
Usually, no, the desire is not there. That's why they have only desires which are the propensities of animal eating, mating, sleeping, and depending. But that desire is created by, incarnating in these kind of species. That desire is created. That just that desire itself is the bija, and that will ultimately fructify into bhava and prema.
For the human beings.
Hmm?
The desire is for the human beings.
I mentioned that even the humans are, you know, only doing these principles. Only when they perform dharma, then the desire to perform dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, all these are progressive, but the desire to attain prema is the highest. So that desire is created by the Lord by incarnating in these species, and especially Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give the Panchama Purusharth, Krishna Prem. The desire is sown by the association of the Lord or his pure devotees. Is it clear or no?
No, Prabhuji, still I am confused because I have a question that why has
You
the
have to
Lord
speak a little loudly,
reincarnated?
please. You'll
Why
have to.
has the Lord to reincarnate in all the species? That is my question.
Pardon?
Why is the Lord to reincarnate in all the species if they cannot be liberated at that stage only?
To evolve them to again higher. Uh, uh,
Species.
there is an evolution of consciousness happening, and somebody who is on the lower level, he will take millions and millions of births to evolve gradually. But by the Lord incarnating in that species and just developing that desire and that association, he will immediately be elevated to, he will just right from the, lowest aquatic form, he just goes to the human form. Is not that evolution to the highest perfection for developing love for Lord? Just the desire seed is sown and he gets elevation. Just like, you're a worker in the labor class and you have to work 10 years and then you become a head worker and then like that, like that, like that. But the owner comes and tells you, no, I'm elevating you to the boss. So what will take millions and millions of lives of evolution to develop the human form of life, just doing these incarnations, the Lord incarnating, he immediately gets the human form. So it's a very quick progression to go back to the spiritual world. Is it clear or no now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. There is another question. Somebody else had raised his hand. Birendra Yadav,
Prabhu, I got the answer. Actually, I was looking for this Sattvain word, so I understand that the Sattvain refers to only
pure
uh,
goodness.
your goodness, and also it applies to human beings and demigods, and not in other yonis.
Yes, yes. The prema, um, yes, you have to have a sadhaka sharir by which you do sadhana and then you perform sadhya. Of course, there are extraordinary cases which Jiva Goswami in his Sandarbhas points out, extraordinary cases to show the potency of bhakti, that there is the pastime where a dog caught a vulture and it circumambulated the Vishnu temple, and because the vulture circumambulated the Vishnu temple, the vulture immediately got a spiritual form and went back to the spiritual world. And then there is the pastime in the Chaitanya Charitamrita of Shivanand Sen feeding the dog, and the dog disappeared in the yatra, but it was found Mahaprabhu was feeding him coconut pulp and he said, chant Hare Krishna. So the dog cannot chant Hare Krishna, but my Mahaprabhu's potency, he was able to chant. and immediately attained the Vaikuntha form. So this shows the potency of the bhakti in general sense. So it doesn't, just to show the potency of how potent is bhakti, these are some extraordinary cases in the Shastra, which are true cases, which are not some exaggeration, just to show the potency of bhakti, which are described in the Shastras. But generally, when that seed is sown, whether in human species or an animal species or any other lower species, he has to take a sadhaka sharir, practice sadhana and attain bhava and prema and then go back to Godhead. Okay, so let's begin with chapter 3. Now, Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Prabhupada translates this and list of avatars. Because in the previous verse, the Lord incarnates as avatar, absorbed in that avatar, and he reclaims. So what are those avatars? That list is given here. So Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur aptly gives the title for this chapter 3 as the list of avatars. So the first 5 verses speak about the Purusha avatars, then the 6 to 22 speak about the 22 incarnations in this universe. And then this 28 and 29 speak about how Krishna is the avatari, he is the fountainhead of all the innumerable incarnations. And then a very important topic is that the Virata Purusha is not counted in the 22 incarnations. What is the reason? That is a very philosophical discussion which comes in this section from 30 to 39. And 40 to 44 speak about the literary incarnation of Krishna. So these are the 22 incarnations, and Bhagavatam is one incarnation which has appeared in Kali Yuga, which answers question 6. So in one sense, question 1, 2, 3 is answered in chapter 2, 4 is partly answered in chapter 2, 4 is again answered in verses 1 to 5 here. Of course, Canto 2, Canto 3 speak about the creation pastime. It is answered in detail there. Then question 5, what are the incarnations? Leela avatars. The Leela avatars are discussed 22 here. And of course, the entire Bhagavatam, right from Canto 3 to Canto 12, discuss all these incarnations till Kalki avatar. And then how Krishna is this fountainhead or the avatar is discussed here. And the Virat Purusha is not counted as the Leela avatars. That is a point which is discussed. And the incarnation of Bhagavatam, how it is special, which is answering question 6. So that's how the overview of chapter 3 is. Let's go to text 1. Suta Uvacha Jagre Paurusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahadadibi Sambutam Shodashakalam Ado Loka Shishikshaya. Suta said, Suta Vacha, first of all, Ado, the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan, accepted the form of the eternal first Purusha, Jagre Paurusham Rupam. So the Purusha accepted a Paurusha form, and this Rupam is eternal, full like the moon. Sambhutam Shodashakalam, the 16 manifestations of the moon, right from waxing to the waning. And then there is the Amavasya and the Purnima. So altogether make 16. So these also refer to the 16 principal elements of creation. Prabhupada takes that meaning. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur takes a different meaning. Of course, when we go to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's translation, it will become clear. Creating the universes, Loka Shishikshaya, from Mahat Tattva and other elements. Loka Shishikshaya. So, the creation pastime of the Purusha avatars, the first Purusha avatars, Mahavishnu, creates these universes beginning from Mahatattva and the other elements. Prabhupada's commentary. Prabhupada's commentary is very, very interesting and philosophical. The Bhagavad Gita states that the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, maintains these material universes by extending his plenary expansion. So, where in the Bhagavad Gita does Krishna mention this? Anyone? Where in the Bhagavad Gita does Krishna mention this? Anyone would like to try? No hands have been raised. Why? Where in the Bhagavad Gita does this is how we need to study Srimad Bhagavatam when we study the Bhaktivedanta purports. When Prabhupada mentions that, the Bhagavad Gita states that the personality maintains these materials by extending his plenary oceans. So where does he mention this? Anyone would like to try? No. Virendra Yadav Prabhuji.
Yeah, I was thinking Mumbai also, but I think it is no.
No, not Mumbai Vamsha. Not at all. Not at all. Mumbai Vamsha cannot be that verse. Anyone else? Okay. This is the verse. .42. अथवा बहुनेतेन किम ज्ञातेन तवार्जुन विष्टव्यम इदम कृष्णम एक अंशेन स्थितो जगत. So this is that Purusha avatar. The Supreme Lord is represented throughout the entire material universe by entering into all things as Super Soul. So the first Super Soul incarnation is the Vishnu. Is the Mahavishnu. So this is the principle Prabhupada is speaking about in this verse. So this Purusha form is the confirmation of the same principle Prabhupada is saying. See, you can correlate. The original personality of Krishna, Godhead Vasudeva or Lord Krishna, who is famous as the son of King Vasudeva or King Nanda, is full with all opulences, all potencies, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. Shadaishwarya Prun. Part of his opulences are manifested as impersonal Brahman, and part of his opulences are manifested as Paramatma. So Bhagavan has Shadaishwarya Pun, all the opulences. But Brahman, the opulences are partly manifested, and Paramatma, still more partly manifested. This Purusha feature of the same personality of Godhead Sri Krishna is the original Paramatma manifestation of the Lord. So this Purusha feature is the original Paramatma manifestation of the Lord. So which line of the verse is Prabhupada commenting here in the purport? Which line of the verse? So I'll just show you the verse so that you all are clear. Which line of the verse is, Prabhupada commenting? So this is the verse. Anyone? Anyone would like to try? Yes, Virendra Yadav Prabhuji.
Who it is Jagrihe Paurusham Rupam.
Yes, it is Jagre Paurusham Rupam, the form. That is the first Paramatma feature of the Lord in the form of Mahavishnu. That's what Prabhupada is commenting. There are three Purusha features in the material creation, and this form, who is known as the Karanadakshay Vishnu, is the first of the three. So the Jagre Paurusham Rupam. So the first form is Karanadakshay Vishnu. The others are known as Garbhodakshay Vishnu, and the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, which we shall know one after another. The innumerable universes are generated from the skin holes of this Karanodakshaya Vishnu, and in each one of the universes, the Lord enters as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is also mentioned that the material world is created at certain intervals and is again destroyed. Now, again, which verse of the Bhagavad Gita is Prabhupada referring to here? Who will answer this? Which verse of the Bhagavad Gita is Prabhupada referring to here? Which verse is Prabhupada referring to? If you have your Bhagavatam books in front of you, please always keep your Bhagavatam books in front of you when we are discussing these classes so that you can mark them. Anyone? Nobody? Priya Mataji. Which Gita verse is Prabhupada exactly quoting?
Oh, sorry, Prabhuji, next time.
Okay. It is Sarva Bhutani Kaunteya Prakritim Yanti Mamakam Kalpakshaya Punastani Kalpado Vishrujamyaham. So here Kalpa refers not to the day of Brahma where Brahma's creation happens. Here Kalpa refers to the beginning of the creation, beginning of the millennium, Kalpado. Prabhupada is saying. And at the end of the millennium, that is the creation, maintenance of the entire cosmic manifestation. So Prabhupada is quoting 9.7 and 9.8. So please mark in your Bhagavatam books. This creation and destruction is done by the supreme will because of the conditioned souls or the Nitya-Baddha living beings. The Nitya-Baddha or the eternal conditioned souls have the sense of individuality or ahankar which dictates them sense enjoyment which they are unable to have constitutionally. So we have the desire to enjoy. We are not enjoyers, we are enjoyed. And that's why if you want to be the enjoyer, then you have to have that ahankar coating to become the false enjoyer. The Lord is the only enjoyer and all others are enjoyed. The living beings are predominated enjoyers. But the eternal conditioned souls, forgetful of this constitutional position, have strong aspirations to enjoy. We can see in this material world how strong is that aspiration to enjoy. The chance to enjoy matter is given to the conditioned souls in the material world, and side by side, they are given the chance to understand their real constitutional position. Those fortunate living beings who catch the truth and surrender unto the lotus feet of Vasudeva after many, many births in the material world join the eternal liberated souls and thus are allowed to enter into the kingdom of God. Bahunam janmanamante jnanvan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sahamatma sudurlabha. After this, such fortunate living beings need not come again within this occasional material creation. But those who cannot catch the constitutional truth are again merged into the Mahatattva at the time of annihilation of the material creation. So again, 9.7, which we quoted. So, which those who don't catch the truth, Sankarshan from his Anand Shesh burns the universes. He's very angry that the conditioned souls did not learn. And all the souls enter the body of Mahavishnu. And again, Mahavishnu exhales, and the jivas with the desire to enjoy are created. The universes are created, and the 14 planet systems are created, and the jivas are given bodies to enjoy matter again. When the creation is again set up, this Mahatattva is again set loose. Now, which line of the verse is Prabhupada quoting now? Which line of the verse is Prabhupada quoting? The whole Jagre Paurusham Rupam Prabhupada has explained. But now, which line of the verse is he quoting? Locha Shishishaya, how it happens? Bhagavan Mahadadibi. Bhagavan Mahadadibi, how he creates Mahatattva, beginning from Mahatattva, is what Prabhupada is quoting now. This Mahatattva contains all the ingredients of the material manifestations, including the conditioned souls. It has all the ingredients. Primarily, this Mahatattva is divided into 16 parts, namely the 5 gross material elements and the 11 working instruments or senses. So Prabhupada now is quoting Shodashakalam, Sambhutam Shodashakalam. See the 16 parts. It is like the cloud in the clear sky. In the spiritual sky, the effulgence of Brahman is spread all around, and the whole system is dazzling in spiritual light. The Mahatattva is assembled in some corner of the vast, unlimited spiritual sky, and the part which is thus covered by the Mahatattva is called the material sky. So there is the entire spiritual sky, and that spiritual sky is dazzling with the Brahma Jyoti light, and part of it is covered with the cloud, which is the material sky. So again, I would like to show you the Golok chart so that you can have a clear understanding of it. Let us go to this Golok chart. Yes. Yes. I'll share the screen. So this is the, I don't know why all this has come out. Maybe I'll change. Yes. So you can see this spiritual sky, which is dazzling with the Brahma Jyoti, and within the Brahma Jyoti, there are inside unlimited Vaikuntha planets, which are all shining. And there is a part of the cloud which is covered, which becomes the material sky. And this entire material sky is Pradhan. And when Mahavishnu glances, that Pradhan, where the 3 modes are in equilibrium, gets agitated, and Mahatattva, the first element, is created, Mahatattva. So this is what is Prabhupada speaking here. The part of the spiritual sky called of the Mahatattva is only an insignificant portion of the whole spiritual sky. And within this Mahatattva, there are innumerable universes. So within this Mahatattva only, there are innumerable universes. All these universes are collectively produced by Karnadaksha Vishnu, called also Mahavishnu, who simply throws his glance to impregnate the material sky. So that's Prabhupada's commentary. I will take Vishwanath Chakravarti's commentary and then take the questions. Okay. The 3rd chapter is an answer to the request by the sages to describe the various avatars. So which are the various avatars? The Purusha avatars are first 5 verses, and then the Leela avatars, various avatars are discussed. This chapter explains that the Lord in one form alone makes his appearance and performs pastimes. So that one Purusha, he takes the form of these 3 Purusha avatars and then further into Leela avatars. At the end of the previous chapter, it was said that the Lord was absorbed in various Leela avatars. Leela avatar Anurato. What pastimes and what avatars are these? Sutta begins by describing the Purusha avatars in 5 verses. Paurusham means with the form of a man, or defined as a Purusha. So what pastime and what avatars are these? So the Purusha avatars also perform pastimes of creation. And the Leela avatars perform pastimes within the creation. That's the difference. By saying that the Lord accepts this form, it means that it did not exist before. The Lord accepts this form means maybe the form did not exist before. That means it is a temporary form. Therefore, the form is described as Sambhutam, Samyak Bhutam, existing continuously, eternally existing. Mahavishnu is eternally existing. It is always situated in his Swarup, which is the highest truth, Param Satyam. The Lord accepted this form of Purusha who eternally exists for creating the universes. He accepts a form which already exists. One never sees a sentence such as, he accepted the pot, where the pot did not previously exist. Similarly, we say the king accepted the general because he desired victory. Amar Kosha says, Yukte smat avrite bhutam pranya atite same trishu. Bhuta means joined with elements like earth composed of a living being in past or in all three genders. So this is something which is technical Sanskrit grammar, which even I don't understand. The same word, Sambhuta, Vishnu Chakra Thakur is focusing on Sambhuta. The same word, Sambhuta, should be applied to the person described in verse 6 with Sa, Eva, Pratamam Deva, and other places as well. So Sambhuta means Jagre Paurusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahadadevi Sambhutam Shodashakalam. So Sambhuta and the Purusha avatars and also it refers to the Leela avatars. So that same Purusha accepted a form of, the first Leela avatar, which will be described. The first Leela avatar, I don't recollect it as verse 6. Verse 6 of the Srimad Bhagavatam is it's the four Kumaras. So the Purusha, accepted this form. So that's what is the meaning here. I hope you get the understanding. With the desire for creating worlds collectively and individually by Mahatattva, Ahankara and other elements, the Lord of Vaikuntha accepted the form of a Purusha who is like the full moon with 16 digits. Shodashakalam being full of forms like Matsya and Kurma. Kala means a 16th part according to the dictionary. Shodasha Kala means having 16 parts. So the 16 parts were described by Prabhupada. The 5 Panchamahabhut and the 11 senses. This refers to the form of Mahavishnu, the first Purusha, a portion of Sankarshan. So Mahavishnu is a portion of Sankarshan. We know in the Goloka chart that Mahavishnu is an expansion of Sankarshan here. Mahavishnu is the second expansion of Sankarshan. He's a portion of Sankarshan. Okay. So that completes verse 1 discussion. Any questions on this? Verse 1. Any questions? Any clarifications? One question. Ravikant Prabhuji. Yes. 2 questions. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, like you told that Lord Krishna impregnate the material world. So,
Mahavishnu impregnates.
okay, yeah. So, like how, like, always soul will be, there should be, living entity for the impregnation. So, how the material things are impregnated, Prabhuji? This is the first question. And
Wait,
there are
hold on. I understand your question. Mahavishnu, just by his glance, impregnates Pradhan. Of course, in his glance, it is mentioned, you can see there is a light here. There's a pencil-like light. When you have this small torch and when you on it, there's a light which flows. So in this light, all the jivas which have the desire to enjoy matter, these jivas come in contact with Pradhan, not directly through Mahavishnu, but through Shambhu. And Shambhu is who unites with Durga. It's a union of Shambhu and Durga, and then the creation happens. So I'll give an example. Within the semen is the jivas, the spiritual sparks, and the semen is the ingredient also. It is said by scientists, and within the semen, all the essential elements to create a body is there than that. The calcium, there are so many elements. Technically, I don't recollect now, but when I read the articles, the scientific articles given by our devotees also, it is mentioned. So along with the ingredients, there is the spiritual sparks which are impregnated within the womb of the mother. Similarly, the spiritual sparks which come out from the glands of Mahavishnu, these sparks along with Shambhu and Durga union, the ingredients are there, and that's how the creation happens. The creation happens. Further, at this is at a universal level, this happening. And here the combination of the male and the female, the soul is impregnated and the body is created. So that's how it happens. That is how we can a little bit understand this. Okay.
Yeah, Prabhuji, it's very nice elaboration. And the second question is coming from the previous lecture, means the same context. You talk about NT elements, that is Ananda, Jnana, knowledge, and third one, Satchit Ananda. So these are the...
We have these three anti-material desires, I said.
So if it is anti-material, then it will be a spiritual, you mean to say, or it is
Yes, anti-material means spiritual. That's what I said.
If it is a spiritual property, then how it always will hanker for the material enjoyments, like the enjoyment is...
My dear friend, just try to understand what I'm trying to explain. Like I have a desire to eat. This desire is coming from the body, not coming from the soul. I have a desire to live eternally. This desire is coming from the soul. It is not a body desire. That's the meaning. So the soul has these three desires. That's why these three desires are spiritual desires. And these spiritual desires belong to the soul. And these desires cannot be fulfilled in this world. It can only be fulfilled in the spiritual world. That is the point. I hope now you get it. Ravikant Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, Vinita Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam. Prabhuji, I have a question, like in bits and parts, we are getting the hierarchy, like how the expansions are happening, right? Would it be convenient if we get a flow chart so that understanding becomes easier?
Yes, the whole flowchart is there. And just right now, what is being discussed, the Purushartha, just the principle is being given here. Entire second canto and third canto, the whole pastime, verse by verse, there are chapters after chapter, the whole creation pastime is discussed, and there the flowchart will help us. So we have to repeatedly hear these creation pastimes. And the more we hear this creation pastime, the more we will be able to detach from this material creation and more get attached to the spiritual world, because we are locked up in matter. And how we are locked up in matter, these 24 elements, we have to repeatedly study. So the second canto and the third canto, the creation pastime, when we take that theme, that time we will go more in detail. Now just the principle is being discussed. Is it okay?
Okay, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, one
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Mataji.
diagram which you showed now, Goloka chart. From top to bottom, can we get an opportunity to study the diagram? Only the diagram.
Only the diagram. Yes, the whole diagram is based on Brahma Samhita, and it's not like you can study it in one class. You will require a series of classes to study it. You'll have to study
Okay.
the Brahma Samhita verses and then study it and then try to understand it. So we'll have to study some classes exclusively on creation, and that will help us to understand the Golok chart. The Golok chart is there in 4 classes, I think, which explain the whole Golok chart. Yes, we have to do that study. We have to have the desire to study.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, let me take another verse and then complete the discussion for today. This refers to the first Purusha. Okay. Text 2. Yasyambasi shayanasya yoga nidram vitanvatah nabhiridam bujatasid brahma vishva shrijampati. After Garbhodakshay, Vishnu lay on the water. Yasya ambasi shayanasya. Shayan means he does shayan on the ambasi. Amba means water. And went into trance. Yoga nidram vitanvata. Brahma, Lord of the universal creation. Our Lord, sleeping only he creates. In sleeping, you can think of creating a house. In sleeping, you can think of creating a, progeny. Now, but just see the potency of you. Garbhodakshay Vishnu. Yoga nidram. He created whom? Brahma, the Lord of the universal creation. Brahma Vishva Shrijampati appeared asit from the lotus in the water of his navel. Nabi Ridambujad. So, I don't know whether you are aware that the lotus grows in a water, and in the navel there is water, and in that water that lotus appeared. Ridha is called as water, body of water. In the Sanskrit Subhashita, Dashakopa sama vapi, Dashakopa, 10 wells is equal to a vapi. You have heard, there is a vapi. Vapi city is there, but there is vapi. Vapi means Dashakopa. If 10 wells come together, it becomes a Dashavapi Samaridha, and 10 vapis together form what is called as a Ridha. So there is practically a lake. And in that water, if you try it out, if you can hold water on your stomach, it gives you a certain kind of pleasure. In Ayurveda treatments, they can put your navel they can cover your navel with a paste of, urad dal, and they can pour oil. And then, if the oil starts, you start shaking, there is a kind of pleasure you can experience. So that's what, in that water, there was a navel which, came out. So let us see whether in the picture it is clear here. Yes, you can see here, and there is this water here, and he is also, in Garbhodak Sagar, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Shayan, he is doing Shayan, and he's in Yoga Nidra, and this navel, this Ridha is here, that water is here. From the water, this lotus stem appears, and on the lotus is born Brahma, Vishvashidampati. So in one sense, you can see that this lotus stem and the lotus itself is emanating from Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So it's completely spiritual in one sense, because it is emanating from him. So let us see what Prabhupada has to say in the purport. The first Purusha is Karanodakshaya Vishnu. From his skin holes, innumerable universes have sprung out. In each and every universe, the Purusha enters as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So here you can see again, Mahavishnu is there, and from his skin holes, these golden eggs come out. And these creation of these elements, earth, water, fire, ether, all these elements, these, you can see there is the, earth, water, fire, air. The golden egg is there, and these elements which are created, these layers form on these eggs. So simultaneously, these creation is happening of the Mahat Tattvadvi, and the golden eggs are coming out as universes. So in each of these universes, Mahavishnu expands and enters as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. So how many Garbhodakshaya Vishnus are there? As many as these universes. Can you imagine? He is lying within half of the universe, which is full of water of his body. So he found it unfit for dwelling. And from his sweat, the entire ocean, which is called as the Garbhodak Sagar, manifested. And from the navel of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu has sprung the stem of the lotus flower, the birthplace of Brahma, who is the father of all living beings and the master of all the demigod engineers engaged in the perfect design and the working of the universal order. Within the stem of the lotus, there are 14 divisions of planet systems, and the earthly planets are situated in the middle. So Prabhupada is speaking about these 14 planetary systems. Upwards, there are other better planet systems, and the topmost planet is called as Brahmalok or Satyalok. Downwards from the earthly planetary system, there are 7 lower planet systems inhabited by the Asuras and similarly other materialistic living beings. From Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, there is an expansion of the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, who is the collective Paramatma of all living beings. So here you can see this is the Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, who resides in the Kshira Sagar. And he is the collective Paramatma for all living beings and even enters into all atoms. He is called Hari, and from him all incarnations within the universe are expanded. Therefore, the conclusion is that the Purusha avatar is manifested in 3 features. First, the Karanodakshaya, who creates the aggregate ingredients in the Mahatattva. Second, the Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who enters each and every universe. And third, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, Parmata of every material object, organic and inorganic. So there are 3 Purusha avatars: Karanodakshaya, who creates the aggregate ingredients, Mahatattva; Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, who is the Paramatma for each of the universes; Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, who is the Paramatma for each and every atom and even every soul. One who knows these 3 plenary features of the Supreme Personality Godhead knows the Godhead properly, and thus the knower becomes free from material conditions of birth, death, old age, and disease, as is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. In this shloka, the subject matter of Mahavishnu is summarized. The Mahavishnu lies down in some part of the spiritual sky by his own free will. Thus he lies in the ocean of Karana, from where he glances over material nature, and the Mahatattva is at once created. Thus, electrified by the power of the Lord, the material nature at once creates innumerable universes, just as in due course a tree decorates itself with innumerable grown fruits. The seed of the tree is sown by the cultivator, and the tree or the creeper is in due course becomes manifested with so many fruits. Nothing can take place without a cause. The Karan ocean is therefore called as the causal ocean. Karan means causal. We should not foolishly accept the atheistic theory of creation. The description of the atheist is given in the Bhagavad Gita. The atheist does not believe in the creator, but he cannot give a good theory to explain the creation. Material nature has no power to create without the power of the Purusha, just as Prakriti or woman cannot produce a child without the connection of the Purusha, man. The Purusha impregnates and the Prakriti delivers. We should not expect milk from the fleshy bags on the neck of a goat, although they look like breastly nipples. Similarly, we should not expect any creative power from material ingredients. We must believe in the power of the Purusha who impregnates Prakriti or nature. Because the Lord wished to lie down in meditation, Yoga Nitra Vitanvata, the material nature created innumerable universes at once. In each of them, the Lord lay down, and thus all the planets and the different paraphernalia were created at once by the will of the Lord. The Lord has unlimited potencies, and thus he can act as he likes by perfect planning, although personally he has nothing to do. Parasha Shaktir Vivede Shruyate. Swabhavika Jnana Bala Kriyacha. From the Shvetashara. No one is greater than or equal to him. That verse also speaks about this. This is the verdict of the Vedas. Prabhupada is quoting, actually paraphrasing Shvetashara Upanishads. Okay, time is up. I will take this commentary tomorrow. Any questions up till now? Questions also I'll take up tomorrow once I discuss Vishwanath Chakravarti commentary. So as of now, we will stop here. We have short out of time. We shot our scheduled time. 8:30 we were supposed to end. It was 8:36. Sorry for that. So we will meet tomorrow and continue the discussion of this, creation pastime of the Purusha avatars. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnav Vrind ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.